Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. We've got a packed show today. Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
What is up? Happy Monday. Welcome into Undisputed live from Los Angeles. I'm Holly Saunders here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe.
Oh,
How was the weekend?
Oh,
Yeah, it was good.
do I have to stare at that for 2.5 hours?
Yeah, I did a little something.
2.5 hours?
Oh, come on.
Are you trying to, distract
Cocktail.
me?
I'm going for cocktails after this.
Are you?
Yeah.
With whom?
It's gonna
9
be
a.m.
fun. Don't worry about all. See, there you go, Skip.
I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Well, this heat don't calm down.
You
Friday.
can handle it.
Handle
From
it.
South Georgia.
I moved to California, not Calcutta. Okay? 115 degrees, Skip. Come on now.
I like the heat.
Was it
I'm doing
really
right with
that
the
hot?
church.
Was it really that hot?
Yeah, I went to church on Sunday. Because they tell me if hell is hotter than what it was on Friday, I got to get right.
Holly, somebody's about to turn up the heat right here, right
Oh, you
now.
already done.
Yeah.
How you doing,
Ooh.
Skip? It's good to see you. How you
Go.
been?
I'm great.
Did you get my call the other day?
No.
You don't call. You don't answer the phone anyway.
All right, that sounded like a threat. I like it. Let's get right into it with LeBron. He's leaving Ty Lue and the Cavs for the Lakers and Luke Walton. And apparently LeBron's old coach is giving his new coach some advice. Lue and Walton spoke in Vegas during Summer League games this weekend, and they will reportedly meet today for breakfast. Lakers associate coach Brian Shaw was a teammate of Lue's, and he'll be there as well. So what do you think they'll say? Well, Lue shared some of what he'll tell Walton, saying, quote, "I'll just tell them LeBron's easy. People get this whole thing built up like he's hard to coach. He's not. LeBron's not the problem. It's the outside tension that's the problem. Just puts added pressure immediately on the coaches, on his teammates. Now, everything you do is under a microscope, so it's going to be a totally different change for the Lakers. They'll be able to handle it, though." All right, Shannon, what do you make of this meeting?
Skip, there's two things can be true. Because in one hand, coaching LeBron can be easy because you know what, Skip? He'll always show up. He'll always be prepared. You know he'll put the time in.
That's
you
true.
know he'll give you maximum effort.
I give you
you're
that.
never going to have to get that call saying LeBron is out this time of night, LeBron is doing that.
Unless you won't even play defense, but go ahead.
There you go. See?
It
Wasn't your turn.
You
You
got
always-
to be honest.
A little jab.
I'm
Yes.
being
Okay.
honest.
All right.
But on the flip side, where it becomes difficult is tempering LeBron's expectations.
Yeah.
Because everything's come so easily and so naturally for LeBron James, he's wondering why the other 11 guys can't do it on command like he can. Like, you got one job. Like, when LeBron, for the best, since he's been back, with the exception of Kyrie, everybody had a specific job. JR, your job is to knock down open shots. We're not asking you to facilitate. We're not asking you to rebound. You can't do that. Tristan, all we asking you to do is rebound and play defense. You can't do that. So tempering LeBron's expectations of what his teammates are capable of. And also, as Ty Lue mentioned, what comes along with coaching and playing with LeBron James. Because he is the best player. He is a Mount Rushmore player, whether you have him first, second, third, or fourth. He is one of those players, Skip. You know what comes along with that. When you have him, it's championships or bust. And everybody can't coach under that kind of scrutiny and stress. Everybody can't play under that type of scrutiny and stress. And so when you factor all that in, that he's on your team, he's a dominating presence, it's going to be tough. It's also going to be tough on Luke Walton because guess what, Skip? They came out together. Now, Luke will command some respect because Coach LeBron loves guys that have played the game. That's why he had respect for Ty Lue. That's why he had respect for Paul Silas. But a great player is also going to ask you questions. And, Skip, he expects answers on demand. And if you can't give him those answers, they're going to be a problem. Now, it's a lot more difficult to coach LeBron James than what Ty Lue is leading on to because he's a generational player, because he's a Mount Rushmore type player. But it's a blessing and a curse. But some things, showing up, being courteous, doing all the things necessary to win is easy. It's his expectations and those expectations that goes around with him that makes it a lot more difficult than probably what it should be.
Okay. I'm just going to say that one thing can be true. I think Luke Walton is in big trouble here. I'm going to start off with that before I get to how easy, quote unquote, it is to coach one LeBron James. But I thought it was bad news for Luke Walton that he did not accompany Magic Johnson to LeBron's door on that Saturday night at 9, this time 12:01 Eastern time.
If I invite you over to my house, I wish you might bring a guest. I invited you, Skip Bayless. He invited Magic,
But Luke
not
Walton
Luke.
was the guest to invite because, will not Luke Walton, if in fact, remember when Jeannie Buss defended Luke Walton at midseason under attack from LeVar Ball and she tweeted, "In Luke we trust"?
Yes.
I don't think so. I'm not buying that now because it should have been more of a feeling of the GM, the ex-superstar Magic Johnson, and his coach of the future going forward with LeBron, Luke Walton. Those are the two who needed to sit down with LeBron and say, this is our plan for you. Wouldn't LeBron want to hear something from Luke at that point? Unless Luke was expendable to this conversation, which I think he is.
No, because Magic Johnson made it clear that they were going to recruit 2 big-name free agents, be it 2018 or 2019. They had the ability to sign 2 max players. They were going to get them. Whether Luke Walton wanted them or not, Magic Johnson said, we have slots for 2 max salary guys.
If I'm Luke Walton, I don't love it that I'm not invited to that initial recruitment meeting, that pitch meeting. And number 2, I am stunned and disappointed in Luke Walton that it appears he's desperately calling around the league seeking advice on how to deal with LeBron James. I thought Luke was more of his own man. Remember, he is the son of one of the greatest players who ever played this game, Bill Walton. I know he's a little bit of a caricature now, but if you remember him as a player, he was really, really good. And Luke grew up around that kind of aura and magnetism from his father. And Luke played for 9 years with Kobe Bryant, so it's not like he hasn't been around superstars before. And now he's desperately calling Eric Spoelstra. How do I do this? What are the quirks? What are the nuances? How do I manage this?
Let me ask you a question. Let's just say for the sake of argument that Pat Riley was the exact same age as Magic Johnson when he got this job. Do you think Pat Riley would have reached out to anyone?
Well, let's do Phil Jackson. You think Phil Jackson called around the league when he took over Shaq and Kobe, 1999?
He was old enough to be their dad.
Okay.
Luke Walton is 20 months older than LeBron.
Okay, but he's been coaching as a head coach for a couple of years, really for 3, right, with that stint in Golden State. So you can call him a made man.
Phil Jackson had coached how many years in Chicago before he got to...
I get that. But I'm just saying, can you imagine Phil Jackson needing any details on how to handle Shaq and Kobe after he coached Michael Jordan? I don't think so.
He was a 6-time champion.
Okay,
so he comes
I got
with
it.
credibility.
Okay, but remember what happened, speaking of Pat Riley, that first year in Miami with LeBron. Remember, they get off to a rocky start, 9-8.
Yes.
There was the bumping incident on the way to the bench with Eric Spoelstra.
It was accidental.
Shoulder to Eric's chest.
It was accidental.
Get out of my way, coach.
It was
quote
accidental.
unquote, coach. Right?
It was an accident,
It was
Skip.
not an accident because remember, even as he was pitched by Pat Riley, he asked Pat, you ever thought about stepping back down out of the GM's office and coaching? Because that's who he wanted to be coached by, was Pat Riley.
Was Eric Spoelstra at that meeting when he met with Pat Riley?
I don't recall, but I don't think so.
Okay.
But that was, maybe that was.
But you wanted Luke Walton. Now,
Yes,
he goes
sir.
with Pat.
Yes, sir. I would want Luke Walton. If I'm Luke Walton, I want to be part of that.
What was Spoelstra there?
Okay. So it's because LeBron wanted Pat Riley to be his coach, and then at 9-8, they had a little team meeting just with the 3 stars, Dwayne and Chris Bosh. And once again, according to Pat Riley's book, LeBron dropped the hint. He thought about stepping back down to coach.
Pat
right?
Riley, a dry snitch.
Huh?
Pat Riley, a
Okay.
snitch. He
All
might
right.
be a
Well, I'm
rookie
just
today.
saying, is it possible that in that Saturday night meeting at LeBron's Brentwood address here in the west side of Los Angeles, that Magic said, hey, if it doesn't work out immediately with Luke Walton, I'll think about coaching. Do you think LeBron asked Magic, would you coach me? It's possible.
Magic tried coaching. Magic doesn't want to coach. But let me ask you a question.
Okay, but just remember, it was just a disastrous, short-lived stint when he went 5-11 in 1994. Is it possible at age 59 that he would say, you know what, I could do this? Because Magic said his heart wasn't in it at that point. That was a bad Laker team. Remember, that team ended up missing the playoffs with Vlade Divac, Nick Van Exel, aging Worthy, aging Rambus. It was a terrible situation. What if Magic's thinking, I can do this? If it doesn't start off right, I'll just step right back down and into this.
Maybe Brian Shaw. I think he has somebody on the bench that he feels comfortable turning it over to Brian Shaw. But the thing is, Skip, we keep making big deals about this. David Blatt was not in the meeting when Dan Gilbert got on a plane and flew to Fort Lauderdale. So this is nothing new. LeBron James rarely meets with the coach that he's going to play for before he actually has to play for them. Until they pump the balls up and they go out there for training camp, that's the first time that the coach is going to get an opportunity.
You know what my takeaway is from that? For LeBron, coach is expendable. It's irrelevant. Just bring anybody in, because I coach myself. I think that's how he looks at it.
No, he does not. Why do you try to make it more than what it is?
Because you know, and I know, he inserts himself in the lineup whenever he feels like it, and he pulls himself out
What
of the game.
star doesn't do that?
Well,
Michael Jordan went in when he wanted to.
I'm not sure about Michael. Kobe did, but I'm not sure about Michael.
So now all of a sudden, now you want
that was
people.
Phil Jackson coaching.
Now you want people to believe that Michael Jordan was the most coachable guy in all of professional basketball, when you and I both know that's not true.
Boy, I thought Phil won over Michael because Michael was having a hard time breaking through because he wanted to go 1-on-5, and you know what happened? Phil finally broke through and got through to Michael. You need to get everybody else involved early, then you can take the game over.
Oh,
right?
I got no problem with that, Skip. But so in other words, you would like for me to believe that Phil Jackson had more control over Michael Jordan than he had over Kobe Bryant, because you said Kobe checked himself in and checked himself out whenever he wanted to. Is that what you'd like for me to believe?
I think that didn't happen until Shaq was gone. I think early on, remember, Kobe was 18 years old when Phil took over coaching, so, okay, so what? You know, is he going to just take himself in and out? No, he's not at that age. But after Shaq's gone and Kobe took over Los Angeles, then I think it started happening at that point. But in this case, I think Luke Walton is on, at best, borrowed time. And there are lots of other candidates out there. I think Coach Krzyzewski is a possibility at some point.
He ain't leaving Duke in the middle of the season.
Well, at some point, is he just what else is there for him to accomplish at Duke? Seriously,
but
nothing.
That's what he loves that, Skip. He loves that aspect of it. The Lakers have tried to get Coach K before, offered him $8-9 million. But when you can go there and you're still going to get the top 10 players, probably 4 of them will end up at Kentucky because they know they're going to be one and done.
Yep.
It's a great system because he's had great success with the one and dones. It makes no sense for him to leave. And he's the king. He's the king, Skip. He comes there, he's going to be a guy. You got to earn your stripes all over again.
Okay,
You don't want that at
LeBron
70.
has been coached by him before,
Yes.
and LeBron loves him and respects him. So that's a possibility. Is it a long shot possibility Phil Jackson would come back out of retirement? I don't think so, because his body had broken down to the point where he couldn't fly anymore. So he wants an 82-game schedule. I don't see that. And he and Jeannie obviously had ended their relationship.
Jeannie said she don't want to see his face.
Okay, so that's possible.
That's what she said.
All right, and I'm going to throw one other possibility out there. I think LeBron came to love Larry Drew, who was sitting on that bench next to Ty Lue. And remember when Ty Lue had to take his sabbatical? Larry Drew went 8-1. It's easy to do with the LeBron team, but still, Larry Drew was a longtime Laker assistant and was assistant through Magic's brief coaching stint from 92 all the way up to 99, so 7 years.
Right.
Head coach in Atlanta, over 2 playoff teams, also head coach in Milwaukee. So he has the credentials to do this. I think LeBron would respect Larry Drew more than he would respect Luke Walton. That's just me.
I think the thing is, when you're dealing with any great player, Skip, you automatically set boundaries. And I think the one thing that Ty Lue did that gained LeBron respect is that they called a timeout and LeBron was trying to talk in the huddle, and Ty Lue says, shut the bleep up. I got this. I don't know if Luke will come on that strong, but you need to set boundaries. Because I'm sure LeBron will voice his opinion and says, okay, but Luke Walton needs to say, LeBron, in this situation, this is what we're going to do. You have, with anything, Skip, because he understands that he's a great player. He understands that he's a dominating voice, not only in huddles, but in that locker room. But you got to establish those boundaries, because at the end of the day, no matter what you think of him, he's not Red Auerbach. He's not Pop. He's not Pat Riley. But he's still the head coach, and you're still the player. Although you are a great player, you still have to show respect to the head coach.
So I'm going to remind you that Ty Lue had so much control. He had everything so secure in his coaching world that he came completely apart last year and had to take 2 weeks off to try to save himself, right?
Yeah, I don't blame him, Skip. You know the pressure.
This is hard, man.
Yeah.
This is really hard.
Yeah.
And he blamed it on outside tension generated by the media. The outside tension from the media is generated internally by the drama king, who is LeBron James. I have never seen anything like it. On a daily, nightly basis, he will either tweet something or say something to the media that will detonate all kinds of, what does that mean? All kinds of analysis.
Because you're trying to psychoanalyze him from a distance. Yeah. Me, I don't give it a passing thought. Oh, look at bro, that was cute.
Oh,
and I keep it moving. Yeah, I just keep it moving.
I'm sure the locker room thinks it's cute.
You, on your couch, you laying back, instead of him having his feet up on your couch, you got your feet up on your own couch like, okay, let me parse this. What did he mean by this? Was he talking about Kevin Love? Was he talking about JR? No.
That's what Ty Lue is doing. That's what Dan Gilbert was doing. That's what the whole locker room was doing in Cleveland.
They ain't got to do it no more.
Well, that's right. But this guy is hard because he's just a constant turmoil creator. It's just because LeBron's not happy unless there's turmoil. He feeds off the turmoil.
I disagree.
You know that.
No.
Yes, you do.
No.
And if you're going to coach LeBron, you have to be prepared for what's going to come because things are going to happen. LeBron is going to pull himself out of Game 7 going into the fourth quarter and mysteriously just go to the locker room. It's just going to happen.
Hey, Skip,
you have to coach through that.
Skip, stop saying that it just happened. You know LeBron James, so all of a sudden, out of the blue, there's nothing wrong with him. Stop it, Skip. You know the man.
I don't know what happened, but this has happened consistently in his career. It's just the whole LeBron package. Obviously, an all-time great player, but you have to be able to deal with that moment, and then you definitely have to deal with what happened at the end of Game 1 regulation of the recent NBA Finals because he melted down and threw a tantrum on the bench. You have to be able to be ready to manage that situation because that's who he is. If
you don't mind me asking, if we were to give every coach truth serum, if we were to ask Pat Riley, was it easy to coach Magic and Kareem? If we asked K.C. Jones, was it easy to, or Bill Fitch, was it easy to coach Larry Bird? If we asked some of the all-time great players, if it was easy to coach great talents, what do you think they would say? So what makes LeBron James different? See, you would like people to believe that although LeBron James is a great player, he's uniquely different in his ability to be coached than some of the other all-time great players, and that's certainly not true.
There was no social media in those days. Do you really think Larry Bird generated one controversy after another? I don't remember any. And listen, I covered Michael Jordan. I'm here to tell you, never any controversy. He didn't want to talk to the media. It's like he would do his post game, but he didn't want to do day-to-day.
Coaching LeBron James has nothing to do with the media. I'm asking you, if you ask those coaches, was it easy to coach these great players, what do you think they would say? Exclude social media. I'm talking about the one-on-one interaction between a great player and a coach. Do you think they would say it was difficult? A simple no or a simple yes?
I think Phil Jackson would tell you it was easy to coach Michael Jordan. Came every day, 1,000 miles an hour, absolute basketball killer. I don't know what more you could want than that. Coach on the floor, I don't know.
Every person that you've ever heard talk about LeBron James, his teammates, his coaches, talk about how hard he prepares in practice,
I got that.
and how he works on his craft. The very same thing that you just said about Michael Jordan.
I know, but LeBron works very hard on his self-promotion on Twitter. That's what he works at also, equally hard. And it's to the detriment of the basketball team because that's hard to manage on a daily basis. Almost every day we're doing something on the show. We open the show with, you won't believe what LeBron tweeted last night.
I believe it.
Huh?
Because he's trying to get those other guys motivated.
Okay. But it's always passive-aggressive. It's always between the lines. What does that mean? We have to sit back and wonder and speculate. What did he mean? Just say it. Grab him around the throat and say it.
If you don't mind me asking, what would social media have said when Michael Jordan socked Steve Kerr in the eye or when he punched Will Perdue? Was that controversy?
Did he not motivate by fear?
Oh, so now that's motivation. You see what I'm saying, Holly? You see, when Michael Jordan can do no wrong, he punches the guy in the face and he's motivating. I tell you what he would have done if that had been Shay Sharpe, he'd have motivated himself into an ass whipping. That's what happened with old Shay Sharpe.
You know what? You finally crossed the line. You would have gotten yours kicked. picked
Skip.
by a man who's just bigger than you are. Bigger than you are, and at least as strong as you are, if not stronger.
Skip,
I'm talking about somebody you would have to kill to whip, and I don't think you would want to go to that point.
Skip, I love Michael. You know how many pairs of shoes I got of Michael. But I promise you.
Baddest man in the history of sports.
I promise
Baddest
you,
man.
on Michael Jordan's best day, he didn't want none of this medicine.
Listen, he would make you swallow your own medicine.
Yep.
Yes, he would.
Skip,
He'd hold you on the ground and be pouring the medicine down your throat. And you say, no, stop it.
Skip.
Stop, I'm out. I'm out.
Skip, this medicine right here causes insomnia.
I'm sorry.
This medicine right here causes insomnia.
I got it, but you finally, I'm with you on every fight you have proposed on this show until now. And you finally crossed the line. You can't do this one.
Skip, if you know what, if you said, you know what,
I need you. I need you as a partner. Don't even think about this anymore.
No, I'd have got too old.
This is instant death.
No, I'd have got too old now. Now, if you'd have said, well, Shannon, I don't know now. You talking about, you know, talking about Tussler with Oak. That might be a different story.
Hey.
But Mike, nah.
What about you and LeBron? Who could?
Nah. Me and LeBron.
Hey, time out. LeBron's a lover, not a fighter.
Oh,
he
Bron
doesn't
got
fight
the mitts.
anybody.
Bron got the
He
mitts
doesn't
for you.
have any mitts
Yes,
for
he does.
anybody.
He doesn't want to. Skip,
Please.
you have to understand. Bron is in a different place in his life now. The man is married, got 3 kids.
I got
He's
it.
not trying to set that example.
He was
but
never
sometimes,
trying to set that example.
Sometimes people try to cross him, and you know, he's like, hey, okay now, don't make me show you that side. But Skip, you need to stop.
Have you ever seen that side?
Yeah.
I've seen it from Mike a bunch of times.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. All I'm saying is that Luke Walton, I commend Luke because a lot of guys, because think about it, to reach out and says, okay, I don't know everything. Everybody doesn't get an opportunity. If you're lucky, you get an opportunity to coach one of these great players in your lifetime. If you're lucky. Sometimes you get like Pat Riley, you get 2 of them at the same time. You get Kareem and Magic. But very, very seldom do you get an opportunity to coach a transcendent figure. And when you're as young as he is, if Luke Walton would say 55, I don't believe he'd have reached out. But when you're 35 or 36 and you're coaching that guy, you need to, okay, what's he like? When he will I know when he gets upset? I mean, will he come talk to me? Can I have my door open where I can ask him to come talk to me? He just needs to know that, Skip. I don't look at it as a drawback. I don't say, well, he's succumbing, he's bound down to LeBron. I don't look at it like that. I look at it as a guy reaching out, wanting to be great from some of the guys that's had interaction with him as a head coach. What's it like?
Luke is going to be coaching on eggshells. He's going to be coaching game to game because that's how long he might last.
Yeah.
And after game 1, he's liable to pull LeBron aside and say, how'd I do? How'd I do? That's no good. You can't do it that way.
No, but Skip, when you're coaching these type of guys and you don't have the credibility, Pat Riley and Phil Jackson, you know, when Phil started coaching Shaq and Kobe, he had 6 titles. They had no choice but to listen. It's automatic, Skip, in my sport, like Coach Belichick. When you go there, he has credentials. Mike Tomlin has credentials. Pete Carroll has credentials. And now when you get those credentials, you will get everybody's utmost attention, everybody's utmost respect. That's just the way it works. LeBron James won't be a problem. LeBron James by that action, boss. He about winning.
Coach James.
His name is LeBron James. He's
Coach
a player.
James.
You need to put some respect on the man's name too, Skip.
Speaking of the LeBron drama, how would all of you at home feel if someone broke up with you via Instagram? Yeah, LeBron pulled this move.
Whatever.
Should the Cavs be upset? That's coming up next. Stick around.
Paula, you need to stop it too.
No mercy.
They say soccer is football of the rest of the world. Only soccer's championship lasts an entire month. Now we're talking, and there's no better place to spend that entire month than at Buffalo Wild Wings. Get into B-Dubs, where we've got match day select domestic beer specials and special sauce mashups to go along with our already loaded roster of 21 sauces and seasonings. That's enough combinations for a full month's worth of delicious cheering. Catch all the soccer action at Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Offers vary by location.
No mercy.
LeBron agreed to a max deal with the Lakers last week, but he did not personally tell Cavs GM Kobe Altman. Yeah, instead it was LeBron's agent, Rich Paul. And when Paul told Altman, it was after Clutch Sports had already announced on Instagram that LeBron was heading to L.A. Despite all that, Altman said he's not bitter about the move. But Shannon, I don't like this move. I don't like it at all. How do you feel about how your man handled this?
Normally, when someone tells you they're not something, Skip, what are they? They're bitter. Man, it ain't even about the money. It's about the money. I mean, I don't really know what else LeBron can do. They didn't like the decision. They didn't like that when he had the op-ed with Lee Jenkins in Sports Illustrated. They didn't like this. So how should he have done it that would have appeased, short of him staying in a Cavaliers uniform, Skip? I don't believe there's anything, because at the end of the day, if the end result is the same, does it make it different? Dan Gilbert, you got an opportunity that very few people get. You had an opportunity twice at arguably the greatest player to ever play. Now, Skip and I, we go back and forth. I think he is, you think he is, but he's a Mount Rushmore player. You had an opportunity you had him twice, and you let him go. So ask yourself, what could I have done differently? So LeBron James not only wanted to move the first time, but when I got him back, he wanted to leave me again. What could I have done differently? At some point in time, Dan Gilbert's going to have to face the fact. Now, all of a sudden, you want LeBron James to tell you something. What about Kyrie? Told you not to trade Kyrie, you didn't listen. Told you to trade that pick for DeAndre Jordan, you didn't listen. So you want to do, and plus the fact it's been reported, you said you wanted your team back. You got your team. You get an opportunity, you and Kobe Altman, you guys get to build your team, a championship caliber team, and LeBron James will get no credit. Because I'm sure you're sitting back like, hey, I'm paying all this money, but LeBron's getting all this credit. I need to get some credit also. So guess what? Starting now, moving forward, be it good, bad, and indifferent, Dan Gilbert, Kobe Altman, that's your team. You get to build a team the way you want it. You want to scope there like Golden State? Have at it. You want bigs? Have at it. Do whatever you need. LeBron's gone. Skip, I don't really know what else, should he have called him a week? Once he opted out, that should have been a good indication that he was probably not going to be returning.
Well, you don't know that. He could have gone back in for 1-1 like Kevin Durant did Gold State. So it's not the end of the world, but this was. And I'm sorry, it's going to sound like I'm piling on, but I did not know this was the way that they were informed until I read Kobe Altman's first interview about it on Friday after our show on Friday. So this is my first crack at this, and I just find it offensive and downright classless that LeBron and company broke this news on their social media sites, Twitter and Instagram, before they had the decency to just call somebody. I don't expect LeBron to call Dan Gilbert because obviously that bridge was burned. But for Rich Paul or Maverick Carter, whoever, maybe even LeBron, to call Kobe Altman, it seemed like LeBron got along pretty well with Kobe.
Yes.
Kobe did everything in his young power to make it
his limited power.
Right, and it was limited. I buy that. He was just the point person for Dan Gilbert. But in the end, there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And look, the bad blood started, remember, after the first decision, when LeBron didn't call Dan Gilbert, when they seemed to be doing okay. Remember, he had to break it on TV, you know, and he called. I don't know if LeBron called Dan Gilbert. Now I can't remember. I think maybe he did.
It was right before the announcement, right?
It was just a moment before, but Dan Gilbert didn't like it. He didn't like the way it was handled. He didn't like the way they were treated in the process. After he'd gone way out of his way to do everything in his power to make it right for LeBron the first go-around in Cleveland. And then, of course, Dan Gilbert just went off, and that's where I use my 24-hour rule. Just sleep on it and let it lay for a while, and he just went straight to the keyboard and went.
He did.
And he just nuked LeBron James and accused him of quitting in that final series that they lost to Boston in the conference semifinal, I believe, before that ended his first go-around in Cleveland.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm going to remind you, over the last 3 years, Dan Gilbert spent nearly $130 million in luxury tax to make it as right as he could for LeBron. Now, that included LeBron wanting the max each of those years.
Right.
But to give LeBron as much help as possible beyond the max that LeBron was taking, he spent nearly $130 million in luxury tax over budget. I'm going to also remind you that over the last 3 years, the 29 other owners spent a grand total, all 29 of them, of $131 million in luxury tax. So Dan Gilbert nuked the whole field in luxury tax. You got to give him some credit for that. He was trying. He was doing the best he could to surround LeBron with whatever he could. Maybe he didn't make the right basketball decision every time, but pocketbook decision, boy, he was.
Oh, he spent.
He was breaking the bank,
I will
man.
give him that. Skip, for me, I think this thing started going awry. Now, I don't know who, but it's hard for me to believe. For Kyrie Irving to find out that the Cavaliers were shopping him, it had to be somebody in that very meeting. Now, I'm not going to call no names, but the general manager's no longer there. Skip, it's hard for me to believe that we can have internal discussions. Me, you and I having discussions. All of a sudden, it gets out. Somebody told it, Skip. Either you did or I did.
Okay.
It got out. That
right.
was really the beginning of the end, because I'm not so sure, had Kyrie been there, that LeBron could have found a better situation. But knowing what we're also starting to hear is that Kyrie wanted out after the championship, and that his team almost asked for a trade after the championship.
Well, there's a recent story that Kyrie never really wanted to play with LeBron in the first place. Okay.
So with that, all that being said,
Okay.
Skip, so maybe even if Kyrie there, LeBron says, you know what? I fought this as long as I could. There's only so much you can suppress on the court, in the gymnasium, in the locker room before it's just time to go. Skip, it's tough. I'll give you that. Given what they've done, what he spent, Rich Paul probably could have given Kobe Altman a day's notice.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
And
Now-
just ask them, hey, we would like to break the story. Is that okay? You'd have to trust that they would have let you break the story, which I think they would have,
Right.
but they would just appreciate that you did this the right way.
Yeah, I give you that, Skip. You know what? Looking back, maybe give them a day's notice. Give them 24 hours and say, you know what, guys? Unfortunately, LeBron has decided to move on. He will not be rejoining the Cavaliers. We're going in a different direction. We ask that you sit on this. We would like to break it. And sometimes, Skip, maybe they didn't trust that they weren't, because, LeBron likes to control his own narrative now.
I got it.
So maybe that has something to do with it. But you know what? I don't normally agree with you, but he should have given them at least
This is
a
a
day.
first on
He should have
Undisputed.
given them a day. He should have
Yeah,
given them a day.
I'll give you that. I'm going to give Shannon Sharpe
Give him a
an
day.
ovation.
Give
Way to
him
go.
a day.
Way to go, Shannon. Came all the way around. That was the right thing to do, and the classy thing to
I'd
do.
have called Kobe Altman.
Right.
Yeah.
I ain't calling Dan Gilbert.
Yeah.
I'd have called Dan Gilbert.
See?
But he wouldn't have liked what I'd have called him.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, but I would have called Kobe. I would have had Richie call Kobe Altman. Says, look, we're going in a different direction. I give him 24 hours. We're going in a different direction. We will not be returning. So we appreciate everything that you did for us. But at this point in time, LeBron feels it's better that he goes in a different direction. That's how I would have handled it.
Now you're the bigger man than LeBron James. That's impressive.
Well, first of all, I would have never gone back. You can't.
I'm with you on that.
You can't call me.
If I'm in LeBron's shoes,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
going back
Yeah.
to Dan Gilbert after you did that.
Yeah. I would have never been
Bridge
back.
burned to the ground.
So that was if you come back after that, I believe you probably could have given him a 24-hour grace period and says, hey, I'm moving on.
Surprised that LeBron didn't tell you, though. Like,
Oh,
weren't
Bron,
you hurt that he took to Instagram before telling you, Shannon?
No, I had something, I had a feeling something was going on.
The other problem that just might have happened, I smell something on fire. It could be the bridge between Shannon and LeBron.
Oh, me and Bron good.
I don't know.
Me and Bron good.
I don't know.
Me and Bron good.
Smell that smoke?
Open at
I
night.
smell smoke.
Open at night. I'm going to be one of them old heads, a 50-year-old with a throwback on. I'm going to have on me a Bron
Really?
jersey. Yep, I'm going to Staples.
Yeah.
No, we going to Staples.
We
Yeah,
are not
as-
going to
as-
Staples.
as
we,
Skip.
we are going to Staples. We are not going to Staples. We are going to Staples.
I'm going to Staples.
You and Jack Nicholson. In a
Yeah,
Winchester
me
too.
and Jack.
No mercy.
Keeping with the LeBron news, next up, LeBron has yet to play a game with the Lakers, but he already has a mural that says King of L.A. Well, that mural was vandalized over the weekend after someone on Twitter offered $300 to destroy it. The vandalized mural said, quote, "No king, La Fraud, we don't want you," and 3-6, which is, of course, LeBron's record in the finals. But don't worry, Shannon, the mural was ultimately cleaned up. $300, that's all it takes. Shannon, what does this tell you?
Told me I should have pulled up. That right, Gadget. Skip, This is a shame. Somebody would, for $300, Skip,
300.
for $300.
By the way, just for the record, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I did not do it.
I
Just
got
for the
my
record,
Wasn't accusing
I had
him.
nothing to do with
It's
this.
3 suspects.
You know?
Skip Bayless, Dan Gilbert,
Gilbert.
Kobe fan.
Yeah.
Skip, this
Well,
is
you
what we
put
know.
me number one.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
did not do it.
Head of Dan
Even
Gilbert.
I wouldn't stoop to that.
I'm not saying you had the spray can,
Yeah.
but I'm saying you might have just like,
Maybe
hey,
for 3,000, not 300.
I will say I got a kick out of it, but
I didn't get no kick out
Yeah,
of it.
I did.
Somebody, Skip,
3 and 6, that'd be what I would
LaFraud.
spray on there.
this is what
LaFraud?
we know about fans. Fans hold their heroes very sacred.
Yep.
They look at LeBron as an interloper. So he's coming into Kobe's territory, into Magic's territory,
Yep.
into in Shaq's territory. And people are already saying he's the king of LA. Well, Kobe is my king. Magic is my king.
Yep.
Shaq is my king. How dare you come in? You're a great player, but you haven't even donned the Lakers uniform yet. So how dare they put that up there? Well, I'm going to show you what. And I'm like, for really? Laker fans,
Yep.
do you realize you've been the laughingstock of the last 5
They
or
have.
6 years?
Yep.
You haven't been close to the playoffs. If Kwame Brown and Smush Parker could come back and help you make the playoffs, you should welcome them with open arms, let alone that guy. Kobe's place in Lakers lore is secure. So is Magic, so is Kareem, so is Shaq. That is secure. LeBron can't undo that. This is not a situation where LeBron can come in there with acid and scrub it all away, Skip, and we start from scratch. What they've done is done. But for someone to be so upset or so petty,
Yep.
this is so ridiculous that they would stoop to this. Really? Is that where we are? Y'all do realize that's LeBron. He's coming to help, not harm your franchise. He's not coming to make you forget any other past greats. But all he did was increase your chance of making the playoffs. I thought that's what the Lakers prided themselves on. And the NBA is a lot better, Skip, when the Lakers are in the playoffs.
Sure.
The Celtics are in the playoffs, the Knicks. Now, the NBA is riding this wave, Skip, of fandom. The ratings are going up. But just think about what it's going to be if LeBron can do what we think he can do for this organization. That's a whole different level.
Everything you just said made nothing but sense to me. But
But that's the problem.
that's the problem. Even though this one mural is a very small sample size, I think it does indicate that there is a sector of Laker Nation, a stronghold, that is going to fight this to the bitter end. And for them, the bitter end would be LeBron winning a championship as a Los Angeles Laker. That's when they would finally give up and give in to LeBron James and embrace him as a lifelong Laker. But until then, and I don't think that's going to happen, I think LeBron is going to sense some resistance from a pretty big sector of Laker Nation that loves Kobe Bryant to the death.
They do.
And I know this because, as you know, I worked in Los Angeles a long time ago and covered the Lakers for the Los Angeles Times. So I have some sense. I was here a whole lot through the Showtime Laker days, covering all those finals. I was here a whole lot through the Kobe Shaq days, covering all those playoffs and finals. I get this. It's deep and it's powerful.
Yeah.
And it was Kobe versus LeBron for so long that this sector, this stronghold, is dug in to defend their man Kobe Bryant.
Absolutely.
And I must tell you, I have been shocked by how Kobe, the ex-Lakers superstar, has gone so far out of his way to try to signal this stronghold, come on, embrace him.
Right.
Put your arm around him, it's going to be okay. Because in the end, do I think Kobe Bryant is rooting for LeBron James? I do not.
Right.
Deep down, I'm talking heart of hearts, he's not rooting for LeBron James. But I heard an interview last night on Channel 2 with Jim Hill right after the golf tournament was over. I just happened to have the TV on, and Jim Hill interviewed Kobe. And Kobe went into, I'm just paraphrasing his quotes, about how it's the responsibility, once you become an ex-Lakers star, to pass down,
back.
to give down, to make it right for the upcoming stars, and that's going to include LeBron late in his career coming to Los Angeles. So he is going out of his way to say all the right things to signal the stronghold. Just give it up. It's okay. Go ahead and embrace him because it'll be good for Laker Nation if we are back in the playoffs and we break through and win a championship.
I think this says more about LeBron than it does Kobe, because for a all-time great to reach out to a contemporary, we saw Kobe reach out to to Michael.
Yeah.
And we see they reach out to Olajuwon, or they reach back out to Magic, but a contemporary, a peer, so to speak. That's very hard. We don't normally see that.
You haven't seen it. Remember, Shaq wasn't homegrown. He wasn't drafted by the Lakers, but he came here at age 24, having failed in a finals before, so he hadn't won a championship.
Right.
And he was not Kareem's rival, really.
Right.
Like, they didn't really cross over to where they were head-to-head, where you had to pick one or the other, pick a side. But in this case, these guys were head-to-head in their primes. Kobe later prime, LeBron early prime, but still head-to-head. And when Shaq came in, so did Kobe the same year. Kobe was drafted. So you got an 18-year-old homegrown here, a kid you just drafted out of Philadelphia, right out of high school. But he looked like he had superstar potential right away. So Shaq and Kobe could grow together into your hearts, right? And they did, obviously. And they won 3 straight championships. So it was different for Shaq. And here comes LeBron, and I'm sure it smacks to some of this stronghold of Kobe lovers as carpet bagging, like cherry picking late in your career. Oh, now you're going to come to our stage. Now you want to be closer to Hollywood, and you want to kind of semi-retire here so that you can go ahead and segue into your second career in Hollywood. Oh, well, they don't love that, man.
I think they should be happy, Skip, considering that the last day of the regular season, the Lakers don't have playoff tickets available. Now you have a situation where there's a great chance you're going to make the playoffs. And you're going to be playing possibly in late May, who knows, maybe even June, eventually. And if you're a Laker fan, isn't that what you're accustomed to? If you grew up loving Magic Johnson in the 80s, Skip, they stayed in the playoffs. Magic went to 9 finals in 12 years. And then here comes Shaq and Kobe. Now, they went to won 3 straight, missed, and then they lost in the finals, and then Dr. Buzz broke it up. But then Kobe struggled, and then they went finals, lost, finals.
They did.
So if you like the Lakers, you're used to winning, and you're used to being in the playoffs. You're not used to having 5 years, Skip. You don't even sniff the playoffs. You're not even close. This guy gives you that opportunity to get back some of your glory days. But, Skip, it's hard, man. When you got your hero, you don't want – look, I'm Hulk. I'm a Hulk guy. I like Iron Man. I like Thor. I like all this other stuff, but they not. I don't want you getting, because y'all doing better than the Hulk. Come on, Skip. Ant-Man did $161 million. Is he a superhero?
Not
Skip?
to me.
Good guy.
You know what I'm saying? So, Kobe.
What was your touchdown celebration?
I did the Hulk.
Thank you.
And so, Skip, Kobe, to these that grew up, guys that, they grew up on Kobe, 20 years of Kobe. Kobe's a god.
And remember how they saw Kobe?
Yeah.
He was the Black Mamba, the closest thing to Jordan since Jordan, and they looked at LeBron from a distance as the drama king, right?
And they looked at him as an adversary. Skip, he got here as an 18-year-old. Kobe got there as an 18-year-old. A lot of as a high schooler.
Yep.
So basically, they're looking at him like, hey, Kobe my age. Kobe a few years older than me.
Yep.
And they got an opportunity to grow with Kobe. So that's their guy. And then here come LeBron. Most intensive purpose, all analytics says LeBron was a better player than Kobe. Nah, because then if he win titles, then he really, what am I going to hold on to now, Skip?
Yep.
I think Kobe wants LeBron to do well, but he knows what this were to do if LeBron were to win one title here.
No, I got it, but he's got to do that to break through.
Yes. Oh, he understands that.
Here's an example. Our man Ice Cube, who often sits in this chair right here.
Yes.
Deep down, if you put him on the lie detector, he came up straight out of Compton through that, into that Kobe era. And trust me,
he's Showtime.
He would be. He's more Showtime, but he also loves Kobe.
Oh yeah,
I know he loves Kobe.
Absolutely.
And he would be more in this stronghold camp of, I'm going to keep an arm's length from LeBron just yet. You got to show me something here, King. He wouldn't say that publicly because he's CEO of Big Three.
Yeah.
God bless the Big Three. It's going great. But the point is that I just know his heart, and his heart is that strong purple and gold heart.
I know who else got a purple and gold heart? Old Snoop Dogg.
He does.
He's
That's a good one.
let
Yep.
that man come here and do work. Now you know Snoop grew up with the Showtime.
They both did, but
He
yeah.
ended up giving Kobe one of his old school, that Parasine, that old school ride.
Yep.
So he loves Kobe, but he know what that man represent. Snoop Dogg about them championships, and he's
Yep.
trying to get more of them. They're trying to pass the Celtics. If you want to pass the Celtics in world titles, that guy that was up on that mural that you defaced, he's your best chance.
Yeah, well, that's true. But he's not you. He's not one of you. He's not yours.
That's okay.
He's theirs,
You
right?
know, the Bronco fans were I'm sure they were skeptical of Peyton because who's the legend there, Skip?
Yeah.
John Elway, 7. But you know, he
No,
was,
Tebow's the legend.
hold on, see what I'm saying?
Well, he replaced Tebow. Tebow had almost pulled off a miracle.
Holly, you see what I'm saying, Holly? You see,
It's funny. It's funny.
why you
It
do
is
that?
funny.
Why would you do that? We're having a good conversation. We're talking about
It's a great
Pantheon great players.
conversation.
Yeah.
Hey, most importantly here, how does this vandal collect his money via Twitter? Like, what do? You
I don't
You
know.
DM the person, hey,
He's
I did
lucky.
it. I did it, LaFraud.
He lucky I was busy. He lucky I was busy, Skip, because I'd have pulled up.
Would you?
Yeah. It wouldn't have been pretty.
Really?
You know.
What do? Do you like spray paint him then?
Whoever did it was really clever.
That wasn't no really clever.
The fraud works for me.
No, it
And you
doesn't.
got to put a big 3 and 6 up there.
It don't work. You know what? Skip?
Fraud works for me.
I'm thinking the more you talk, you like you had something to do with this.
And you know, it's clever. Just spray paint that yellow gold paint right across LeBron's mouth, right? That'll shut him up.
Y'all make me sick. Whoever
Oh
did
no.
You know what? The bottom line to this is there is another level of pressure here that maybe LeBron didn't think about before he said, I'm going to LA.
Skip.
Right?
it. If you play with, look here, this is what we know. If you play with the Lakers,
Yep.
if you play with the Celtics, there's pressure. It's kind of like if Green Bay, there's certain, Pittsburgh, there's certain pressures that come along with certain situations, no matter how good or bad the team is. You know what they represent. When you talk about basketball, the gold standard is the Lakers and the Celtics.
Yep.
The Lakers have been to more finals than anybody in NBA history. So LeBron knew what he was getting into.
Yeah, but that's just the big picture pressure. Did he think there would be resistance pressure?
Of course.
I don't know.
Because, Skip, that's LeBron. The man been in the pressure cooker since he was 18.
That is true.
He tenderized, now he just saw what he wanted, but don't test it.
Enough LeBron for a minute. He's dominated the first hour of our show, so let's change the subject. Coming up,
Like I've
why
been
did Tony
dominating.
Parker leave San Antonio? Did it have anything to do with Kawhi Leonard?
Actually about LeBron.
discuss
So
that.
go ahead.
No mercy.
Tony Parker is leaving San Antonio. According to ESPN, he agreed to a 2-year, $10 million deal with the Hornets after spending 17 years with the Spurs. Big breakup here. Parker told the Undefeated that he had had an emotional talk with Greg Popovich, but he, quote, had to move on. Parker also said he had no problems with Kawhi Leonard. The Spurs are also reportedly losing, Kyle Anderson to the Grizzlies. My, Shannon, what is going on with the Spurs?
Tony Parker wanted more playing time, and Coach Popovich couldn't guarantee him that. So he valued playing time over the playoffs. And maybe whether or not he had a problem with Kawhi, Kawhi had a problem with you. Because Kawhi didn't feel it was your place to talk about you having an injury 100 times worse than his.
I haven't heard that from Kawhi's lips, but that's what we're told from his camp.
Yes.
Okay.
But here's the thing. By saying that, what did Tony Parker hope to accomplish? That it was going to reverse psychology and motivate him?
Maybe.
Well, let me show Tony that I'm okay. Nah, bruh. That's your injury. You deal with your injury, how you dealt with it. Let Kawhi deal with his. Now, if Coach Popovich want to go to him and say something, okay. But normally, Skip, not always, players try to stay clear of players' injury and players' money. We just leave that off the table because nothing's going to come out of that. So in order to keep the peace, because if this guy comes back, let's keep the peace. We can just go ahead and move on. But the Spurs, they still have Greg Popovich, who's, I think, the best coach in basketball. But Skip, they were the 8th seed. They were the 8th seed last year. Now, with no Kawhi, possibly, Anderson moving on, Tony Parker, although Tony Parker didn't win them a whole lot of games. I mean, whatever. This could be a shift in the Spurs as we know them, because the last time they didn't make the playoffs, Dominique Wilkins was their leading scorer. And the following year, they drafted Tim Duncan. And they never missed a playoff since.
Yep.
And I think this year was the first year where they had less than 50 wins in that. So we're starting to see a team that's almost unrecognizable, a team that constantly, 1, 2, or 3 seed, winning somewhere between 55 and 65 games. Maybe, Skip, that's a thing of the past. And but Tony, I wish you the best of luck, but this was a bad way for you to go out your last year, going back and forth with Kawhi. Well, you going back and forth, Kawhi Camp sending messages back the other way.
Yep.
But I'm happy for him because he wanted more playing time, Skip. He believes he still can play. Coach Popovich said you can play, but not as well as you think you can, which doesn't command the kind of minutes that you want to have.
Okay.
He can go to Charlotte. That's a bad team. He'll get a lot of minutes.
Bad GM in Charlotte, too, right?
I don't know about who the GM.
Yeah.
Who the GM?
The greatest player who ever played in any sport, Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
What?
The worst GM in any sport ever, I believe, is Michael Jeffrey Jordan. So maybe he made another bad choice, but actually I think this is a pretty good one. So, bottom line to this discussion. As you know, I'm a lifelong Spurs fan.
Okay.
I was shocked and stunned at the news that Tony Parker was no longer a San Antonio Spur. And it took me about 24 hours to sort of make peace with it because that's not how they treat their aging superstars.
How did they treat him, Skip?
They figure out how to have him retire a Spur. That's how they're doing it with Ginobili, obviously, who may play next year at age 41, and that's how they did it with Tim Duncan.
Well, they tried, Skip. They said, well, look, we got this amount of money. I'm sure it's not a whole lot of difference in the money, Skip, but you only going to play 20 minutes a night.
I'm going to remind you, Tony Parker did rush back from a complete rupture of his quadriceps tendon, and he was a shell of himself for about 2/3 of the year. But that last third, he started to look like Tony Parker. So he had a lot of buzz and interest on the market. Not high money buzz, but a lot of teams were interested in cut rate Tony Parker. And remember, he only got $10 million for 2 years, so he's making $5 million after he made $15.4 million last year, his final year with the Spurs.
Right.
So I can only deduce and conclude the decks are being cleared because the Spurs think they can keep Kawhi Leonard, and they think they can sign him long-term to that supermax $219 million. And the Kyle Anderson, I know you're not a big Spurs fan. You think they're like eating broccoli. I love broccoli, by the way. I eat broccoli at least once a day, every day of my life. So I watch the Spurs every game they play because I love broccoli. But the point is,
Tummy hurts.
Kyle Anderson's a pretty good player. Kyle Anderson's in the rotation. He was a pretty important cog. You know, they call him slow-mo because he doesn't look like he's moving very fast, but he just knows how to play basketball. He can defend at a high level. And Memphis said, we want you. 4 years, $37 million. It's pretty big bucks, you know, not bad.
The money's not out there like it was the past couple of years.
No, I got it, but still. Spurs said no to Kyle Anderson. I was not shocked, but I was surprised by that one.
Well, what if the Spurs are waiting till 2019?
Okay, what if the decks are being cleared? What if they believe they can talk Kawhi Leonard back into the fold next year and rebuild the bridge? I don't know. That's how it sets up to me. That smacks of that.
Well, somebody just keeps throwing out there where he might sign long-term with the Sixers. He might sign long-term with the Clippers. He might sign long-term with the Celtics or this or that. They don't mention anything about him returning to the Spurs. But what if the Spurs are clearing the deck because all these guys, the Klay Thompson, the Kevin Durant, all these guys are going to be available next year.
Okay, it's possible you're right about that, but it just feels like when they cut the cord with Tony Parker, there's only one reason to do that, and it's because he burned his bridge to Kawhi Leonard. But however it happened, and I'm going to say it one more time, I believe Tony Parker was 100% correct when he said his injury was 100 times worse than Kawhi Leonard's because he did rupture and Kawhi had a bruise, a thigh bruise. Really? Well, I'll go 100 times worse because it's a terrible injury to rupture your quad muscle. You know this.
And I ain't trying to hear that, Skip. Look, if I got an injury, I'm not trying to, regardless of what your injury is, if I have an injury, I'm not trying to hear your injury is 100 times worse than mine. I'm injured too. I can't get out there. So maybe yours is 1,000 times or 10,000. I can't play right now. So what difference does it make the degrees of which I'm injured?
I don't know. I don't know why Tony said it. Maybe He felt that his career had been threatened by his injury, that he had worked for 6 long months of rehab, and finally he just couldn't contain it anymore. He's not playing. He's missed all but 9 games with a thigh bruise.
Can I ask you a question, Skip? Tell me one thing Tony Parker could do that's going to change your perception of what and who Tony Parker is moving forward. Last year, moving forward. Tell me one thing he can do. He's a 4-time champ. He's a Finals MVP. He's been an All-NBA. He's been an All-Star. So tell me the one thing that he can do. Why would he be threatened by an injury? You're secure. There's nothing you can do, Tony.
I get it, but he wanted to play. He's been talking about, I want to play until I'm 40.
Right.
Well, all of a sudden, at 35, it's looking like lights out, pal.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. Play. You want to play, or do you want to play well at 40? Because, see, sometimes, Skip, we get these numbers in our head, oh, I want to play to this number, even if I'm looking like stir-fry on the court. You know, Tony.
I'm telling you, at the end of the year last year, he had some games where I said, aha, there's that guy.
Because he was fresh. Mm-hmm. What happens when you have to
Getting healthy is why. That's a year-long rehab on that thing.
Yeah.
He rushed back, and Kawhi rushed out the door.
But, you know, he's going to a coach now where maybe they don't do like Pop. You play 3 games, you get a game or 2 off. What happens when he has to play
Although remember that James Borrego is the new Charlotte coach. He was a longtime San Antonio assistant, so Tony's got some connection there.
Yeah, what happens when Tony has to play 25 minutes a night, Skip?
He can do that. Well, remember, he's backing up Kimba, who's the guy you wanted all along, right? In Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
And Kimba played 34 minutes a game last year. If he's still going to be in Charlotte this year, which I assume he will he continue to play 34, 35 minutes? Yeah, so would Tony play 15?
First of all, if he can't play 34 minutes and he's way younger than LeBron, and LeBron playing 37 minutes a night, for real, Skip? Is that where we are?
Well, I don't know. But what's Tony Parker gain in Charlotte? I don't know. Just feels wrong.
Minutes. He valued minutes and play time more than playoffs, or maybe finishing his career in San Antonio.
I think the Spurs just between the lines quietly made it clear to him, you better take this deal in Charlotte.
You're a backup. You're going to be the backup to
DeJounte Murray.
DeJounte Murray, and your minutes are going to be limited. Okay, he says, well, I can go here. I can play. I know the system because the guy that was here is there now, so I know the system. I'm going to have a leg up. So he feels he can get more playing time. But I don't believe that's going to change the perception of Tony Parker. You have 13 years, or however long he's been playing, Skip. That's his resume. So whatever he does after this, it's kind of like how you look at Michael.
Oh, I know. I know. I got you. But it feels like my Spurs are now putting all their eggs back into Kawhi's basket, and I don't love it because I don't trust him.
Kawhi don't go Easter egg hunting. He ain't got no basket. He say he wants nothing to do with it.
You're just hurt because you were convinced that plan A with the Lakers was LeBron plus Kawhi, and it ain't happening.
I got Magic. So Magic got a plan B and a C. Now, those might not go into effect in 2018, but watch 2019. We getting somebody. Might get Kevin Durant.
Maybe.
Might get Klay Thompson.
Might
get Dame Lillard this year.
You might.
Might.
Yeah. Might. But this year looks like a wash to me.
Ain't no wash. We still got LeBron. We got Moby Dick. So we got a nice haul, even if we don't catch any more fish.
Really?
We got a nice haul to go back to the port with.
All right. Well, speaking of not trusting, would you guys ever give advice to the enemy, especially when the topic is LeBron? There has to be a hidden agenda, right?
No.
It's happening today between Ty Lue and Luke Walton. We'll discuss that next with Chris Broussard.
No mercy.
Here's the latest with LeBron James. He's leaving Ty Lue and the Cavs for the Lakers and Luke Walton. And apparently LeBron's old coach is giving his new coach some advice. Lue and Walton spoke in Vegas during Summer League games this weekend, and they will reportedly meet for breakfast today. Might be happening as we speak. I don't know. Lakers associate coach Brian Shaw was a teammate of Lue's, and he'll be there as well. And Lue shared some of what he'll be telling Walton, saying, quote, I'll just tell them LeBron's easy. People get this whole thing built up like he's hard to coach. It's not. LeBron's not the problem. It's the outside tension that's the problem. Just put added pressure immediately on the coaches, on his teammates. Now everything you do is under a microscope. So it's going to be a totally different change for the Lakers, but they'll be able to handle it. All right, for more, we're now joined by FS1 NBA analyst Chris Broussard. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great.
No, you're not at breakfast with these guys?
No. I wish I were.
They didn't invite you? What do you make of this meeting?
Well, I think what Ty Lue told the media is the media version of what he's going to say. I think it's a great idea for Luke because coaching LeBron James is going to be like unlike anything he's ever experienced as a coach. Obviously, with the Lakers, there's a bunch of young kids. When he had Golden State, you know, nobody there wielded the power of LeBron James and even had his personality. With dealing with LeBron James, you are coaching a player who has more power within the organization than you do as the coach. And you can say, well, any superstar might have more power than the coach, but most of them don't wield it.
That's true.
Even Michael Jordan didn't wield his power like that.
He did not.
And granted, they did have a front office that might not have let him, you know, Jerry Krause and those guys. Yeah. But LeBron not only has the power, but will use it. So you're talking about a guy that we know. I mean, he's going to be able to talk to Magic whenever he wants. Going to be able to talk to Rob Pelinka whenever he wants and just go over Luke's head. You're talking about a player that has ideas, as we already see with Rondo and JaVale McGee and Lance Stevenson. He has ideas on who he thinks should be on the team, who he thinks should be playing, when they should be playing. You're talking about a guy that may think he's smarter than you, and in some instances, he's going to be.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
And so that is the challenge of coaching LeBron. And so that's what Ty Lue, like, it's more important for him to talk to Ty Lue than Eric Spoelstra. Because Spoelstra had an entirely different situation. Spoelstra did have more power in the organization because Pat Riley made sure of it. Like LeBron and Wade and Bosh, they had their ideas. They at times were tired of Spo, especially early.
Yep.
But Pat Riley made it clear, if you're going to win, it's going to be with him.
Right.
Like, he's not going anywhere. If you're going to mess up and screw up, then that's on you. It's going to come back on you. So this is going to be a challenge. And I will say this, and what Ty Lue said about the media, I do think LeBron is just a perfectionist. And you see how much he works on his body. We know he spends $1.5 million, you know, and he just wants to hold everybody else to that level of accountability, players and the coaching staff. So sometimes it may come off as hard, but that's really what he's doing, is saying, look, I'm putting in all this work. I expect you, including the front office, to put in that much work too.
It's a blessing and a curse, because what comes easy and so natural to him, he's looking at the other 11 guys. He's like, damn, guys, y'all can't. But they don't get it. Great players, Skip, they don't realize how fortunate, how talented they are. They just think someone, well, if you just work hard like me. No, bruh. He can work hard 24 hours a day, and he's never going to be the player that you are. That's God-given, and he put the and you willing to work at it. You look at LeBron, as Chris was saying, the way he eats, the way he trains, the way he takes care of himself is basketball, basketball, basketball. What bothers him is that when he sees guys that are not as talented, that's not about basketball, basketball, basketball. Therein lies the problem. Then you're going to have a problem with him. I don't have a problem with him that Luke Walton's reaching out, because we've never had a guy his age coach a player of this status. Normally the coaches are a lot older, Skip. When you're dealing with Pat Riley, he was older when he took on Michael Jordan. Pat, can you imagine if Pat Riley was, 20 months older than Magic Johnson? That might have been a different ball game. But Pat Riley was much older than Magic Johnson, so there was a healthy level of respect there. I do believe LeBron will respect Luke for the simple fact he played the game. He liked Paul Silas because Paul Silas played the game. He liked Ty Lue because Ty Lue played the game. He wants you to have at least some understanding of what the hell he's talking about and what he's thinking. And if you've never played the game, Greg Popovich never played. Nope. Some of the best coaches of all time, general managers, never played the game.
Yep.
But sometime as a player, we want you to put yourself in our situation and see what we see from a standpoint of having actually playing the game. So that, I believe, Skip, I don't. Ty Lue saying this, it's difficult coaching great players because of the expectations they have, not only for themselves, but for the coaches and the players that are around them. This is not an easy undertaking, and I commend Luke Walton for reaching out, trying to figure out what's the best way to deal with this young man.
Okay, I get what both of you have just said and laid out on the table very astutely. I still say my takeaway from all this is that Luke Walton is on borrowed time as the head coach of the Lakers. Number one, it felt like bad news to me that Luke was not included in Magic's midnight Eastern mission to LeBron's house. if he's the coach of the future, if he's a big part of your plans going forward, he just goes with you. And remember, Luke Walton is not young Eric Spoelstra. Spoelstra came from nowhere. He did not play in the NBA. He played Division II college basketball as a point guard. Where was it? Like in Portland State or somewhere?
Like that.
Okay. And he worked his way up from videographer in the Miami Heat organization to head coach because Pat Riley loved him and blessed him. In this case, Luke Walton grew up as a son of one of the greatest players who ever played, and for 9 years he played with Kobe Bryant, and he won championships with Kobe Bryant. So he has some cachet to LeBron that Spo wouldn't have the first year.
Correct.
And I reminded Shannon earlier in the show that Pat Riley even wrote about in his book that first year after that rocky start, 9-8, and they had a little meeting with the big three, with Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and at that point, once again, just as he had when he was recruited by Pat Riley, he said, hey, why don't you step down, come back down and coach us, coach me, because he wanted a superstar coach to coach a superstar LeBron, and I don't blame him for that. So I'm wondering, has he mentioned to Magic just in passing, at some point you need to think about coaching me, because I know Magic tried to coach. Yes, Magic tried one ill-fated stint. He went 5-11 back in 1994. I don't know. I'm just saying that's a quick fix that could be on the back burner. And again, is Phil Jackson a possibility to come back? I don't think so, because his body broke completely down. He couldn't fly anymore. So you're out. And I threw out to him other possibilities. Would Coach K think about it at some point, maybe next year? It's something, he's done all he could ever do at Duke. I know he's very happy there, and he just keeps turning it over with one and dones, and you're always going to be pretty to very good. But still, would he want to take one shot at coaching a super team in LA, not this coming year, but the next year? Maybe. And I even threw out Larry Drew, because I think LeBron came to love Larry Drew, who coached them for that 8-1.
They had a nice little run.
Yeah, they had a nice run. I'm a big fan of Larry Drew because he coached Atlanta twice to the playoffs. He coached Milwaukee. As a head coach. And remember, he was a Lakers assistant from 92 to 99, so he even crossed Magic's path in the ill-fated 5-11 stint as head coach.
What about Brian Shaw?
Okay, he's sitting right there. He's been passed over a couple times.
Denver, he struggled, but it wasn't all his fault. I mean, the front office was a mess. The team was a mess.
It's possible. But to me, the other thing that shocked me about this was Luke Walton seems above having to call around the league to ask how to coach LeBron. I just thought, he coached for a while, Golden State. I don't remember what was it, 40, 50 games?
He went 30-94, 43.
30-94.
Okay, so
26-0 or
so that's a pretty big sample size. So you know how it's done.
Which one of those guys carried the merit of LeBron?
Okay, but I thought Luke was his own man to the point where you just say, I get this, I'll figure it out.
And plus,
that team in Golden State, I was at some of their shoot-arounds. I mean, they pretty much coached themselves.
Right. Sure.
Like, Luke did not really have to say much.
And plus, Luke was already on the bench.
He was.
So he already knew what he was getting into. This is beyond him.
I think Luke is a good young coach.
I do too.
Like, I really hope they give him a legitimate shot. And it's not just LeBron who may not value him, may or may not, I don't know, value him as a coach. But Magic and Rob Pelinka did not hire Luke. And that's always an interesting dynamic when the front office comes in and it's not their guy.
Yeah.
As far as Magic coach, when Magic and I did the Countdown show, we'd always talk a lot. He said he hated coaching. He said he never wanted to coach. He wanted to be in business. So I don't see that, and I doubt LeBron asked him to coach. But here's the thing, too. I like Luke talking to Ty Lue and Spo, as I said. But LeBron is not the only situation he may have to deal with. I mean, Rondo and by his own admission, has said he's never had a coach dating back to Pee Wee football that he got along with. And Lance Stevenson.
You've heard the Doc Rivers story, because I've heard him straight from Doc. Rondo was as difficult to coach as anybody Doc has ever encountered.
You know what an interesting dynamic could be, too? I'm not saying this for sure. LeBron and Rondo. Because you have two headstrong players. LeBron has never had a teammate, to my knowledge, that I can think of, that might challenge him on some of his basketball ideas. I don't know. But he's a strong
Okay, and then
guy.
ask Nate McMillan how easy it is to coach Lance Stevenson. Not that
Brian
easy.
wanted it.
Huh?
Yeah, they wanted him back.
He's going to do some knucklehead things, too,
all right.
just like JR.
But you give him small dosage. You give him small 10,
All right,
12
but
minutes
I'm
here
saying,
and there, you good.
This is all on Luke's plate at
Yeah.
the same time. And JaVale,
I
that's
was
no
gonna
walk
say,
in the pocket.
And then you got LeVar.
You got to coach LeVar.
Yes.
You're not Lonzo. You have to coach his father.
This is a potential powder keg.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
I love
LeBron got
this.
this.
And I'm
LeBron
not, look,
got-
I
got this.
think LeBron's going to be the him, but there's potential for everything. We're saying there's potential to be a really good team.
Yeah.
There's also potential for amazing volatility.
The wheels can fall off.
Oh my! Because LeBron, he started slow when he was first went back to Cleveland, first went to Miami. If they start slow, he's not going to be happy because he wants to win.
Yes.
And that's when the drama can start. It's going to be entertaining. It's
Okay,
Hollywood.
so back to your
love it.
point about Ty Lue saying that LeBron is easy to coach, but it's the outside tension, quote unquote, that makes it hard. Well, the outside tension is generated internally by one LeBron James. On a daily, nightly basis, he's going to tweet, he's going to drop little bombshells on the media, and they're all designed to maybe motivate the team, but it creates chaos. And you're with me on this. I think LeBron loves the chaos. He thrives on it. It fuels him. And the others, it can just bury them.
But it would have been very interesting if they'd had social media. When Michael was going to Vegas or Atlantic City, it was all
Can you
these
imagine
fights.
that today?
Can
Yeah,
you
that would be
imagine?
crazy. The
Because we'd
fight,
have a
yeah.
different. So now,
You're right.
because the athletes now in a social media, the guys before they'd have never. I'd never say never, because it's hard for me to believe that they have this platform that they wouldn't have been using it. And the camera phone, because guess what? Camera phone has been amazing. It's made some careers, but it's damn sure cost some too.
Sure.
So imagine when Michael was, playing blackjack, because he loved blackjack, Skip.
He loved a lot of things.
Yeah, he did. I ain't got no. That's
Way to
beyond
say
me.
it.
Yeah.
Part
it's
of
a
me
safe way to
wonders
say it.
this too, because LeBron's first stint in Cleveland, 7 years, there really wasn't a lot of drama. I don't remember. I was covering that
That's
team
true.
a lot.
I'll give you
know,
that.
there was not the drama that
A
there
little
is
drama toward the end,
toward the end.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? For the most part,
All this-
and they never won.
All this fit in, fit out.
Yeah,
that
there
came
was
in the
no,
second
and
stint.
granted,
Yeah.
social media, I don't even know if I think you had Instagram, so it was a little different. But still, there wasn't that drama. Miami, there was drama, he won twice.
Expectations
Cleveland,
to
there
win.
was drama, he won. So maybe he feels like that's a necessary evil.
Yep.
Yeah, got a poke and prod.
Hey, most importantly, who's picking up the check at breakfast this morning? Who do you think it is? I think
Luke better pick it up. You need to know this info. You pay it. And I'm ordering everything.
I don't know. Ty's got the championship, so I think he
Yeah,
might.
You think so?
And the bigger, and the
They're
bigger,
both on
the
expense
bigger,
accounts, so it's
Correct.
Yeah,
the
No,
teams
that's
are.
true.
As long
getting
as you're not
waffles.
splitting it. Can't be friends
I
with
want
somebody who's
waffles,
splitting it.
2 eggs over easy.
You don't want waffles?
Yes, I do.
Look at you.
I don't. Look
got
at me.
back
I
in
want
shape.
waffles.
waffles.
I eat waffles.
Oh, thanks so much, Chris.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back again tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.